So guys, today we are going to discuss one of the important and advanced concept of a ASP.NET Core Web API, that is Mapperly. So you can consider this is not an alternative, but better alternative of a AutoMapper. So let us try to understand why we need a Mapperly, why we should prefer Mapperly over AutoMapper, and how to implement this. First of all, I will show you one simple example to understand the concept. Then I'm going to take one real-time application where I'm going to show you in real time how you are going to use Mapperly in your Web API development, right? See, when you are developing any real-time applications, right? I mean, whenever you are developing any kind of a ASP.NET Core Web API application, so we are frequently, right? Frequently means we are creating lots of model classes. Also, we are not going to expose our model data or entities to the external world. So we are creating lots of DTOs, right? DTO means data transfer object. We need to convert, we need to map this DTOs to entities or model, and for model to entities. For example, when we are receiving the data for any post request, right, where the client sending the data, that is DTO, we need to convert to our entity or model. Similarly, when we are returning the data to the client, and in that case, we need to convert our entity or model to DTO. So this mapping, doing this mapping, converting one type to another, another type to one type, right? Manually means what? If you are doing this manually across multiple controllers, across multiple services, then this is going to be something called a repetitive task. So whenever you are doing something repetitive, means what? It is going to be error prone. Why I'm saying error prone? For example, right? For example, you have added some, I mean, you created some DTO and you created the class files. So if you added few properties which you have not added into the DTOs, or if there is, right, what I can say, you want to, for example, if you don't want to expose some sensitive informations, right, then in that case, what you need to do, you need to go with the DTO. If you are not using DTO, means what? Means you are exposing everything. For example, password has some sensitive information. So why should I expose this sensitive information? Most importantly, you can see whenever we are creating our entities, we are using some audit field. So these audit fields are only for our internal purpose. We should not expose these audit fields to the external world. So 100%, if you are developing any kind of real-time applications using ASP.NET Core Web API, 100% you are using DTO. And mapping the data between DTO and entity model is mandatory. So we have two options. Either you can do the mapping manually. Manually means it is going to be some kind of a repetitive code. Why I'm saying repetitive code? Because let assume our entity content 10 properties, DTO content 10 properties. So what you need to do? You need to map those 10 properties from the entity to DTOs. Tomorrow, what you have done, you have added few more properties to the, right, what I can say, it is as well as few more same properties to the DTO. So without mapping that manually, it is not going to map the data automatically. So that is going to be error prone. So what is the best approach? So best approach, do this process automatically. So if I'm adding some property into the DTO and I'm adding some property into the entity, then that mapping should done automatically. I'm not going to do any kind of a manual activity. Secondly, if the same mapping you are using at multiple places, right? For example, get order. So get order by ID, get order by customer ID, right? Get order by date. So different API method you have defined, and from all this API method, you are going to use the same DTO to return the data. So in that case, what you need to do, you need to repeat the same mapping logic again and again. For example, you have right currently you have done the mapping in three different places. Tomorrow you want to add some properties or you want to remove some properties. Then in that case, what you need to do, you need to do the same changes in all the three different places. So if you are doing the same thing again and again, means it is repetitive. And second, what is the second problem? If you forgot to do the changes in one place, then what will happen? That is going to be error prone. So what we need to do? We need to overcome this problem. So before Mapperly, right, as a .NET developer, we generally use something called AutoMapper. But the downside of AutoMapper is it uses runtime in reflection. Sir, what do you mean by runtime reflection? So runtime reflection means what? That mapping will come into the picture at the time of a program running, not at the time of a compilation time. So if you are doing some invalid mapping, if some mapping is missing, then that exception information, that error details, right, will come into the picture only when you run the application. Until and unless your application is not executed, you will not figure out what went wrong. I mean, you will not figure out what is happening behind the scene. So second problem is that as it uses a runtime reflection, means what? That binary code is going to be generated at runtime each time you run the application, and generating the binary code at runtime, doing the mapping at runtime, definitely it is going to take some additional time. Third thing, now the latest version of AutoMapper required paid license. So you have to, if you are using for the commercial purpose, then you have to pay for using AutoMapper. So to overcome this problem, what we are going to use nowadays, mostly industry, they are moving towards Mapperly. Mapperly solve all these limitations. Mapperly generate the mapping code during the compilation time. So once you build your application, you can see what code is being generated by the Mapperly. So it is very similar to your C sharp syntax, C sharp code, which I can also show you how the code is being generated. So as it is generated during the compilation time, so if any incompatible type, if any compilation error, they will come to know at the time of a compilation time, only not at the time of a run time. Secondly, it is used as AOT. AOT means ahead of time compilation. So basically, at the time of a compilation time, if everything is fine, it will directly generate the native code, which is going to be executed directly at runtime. At runtime, again, that MSIL code to native code rate conversion is not going to be happening. Automatically, that native binary code or native code is already generated, which you can execute at the runtime. So this is the reason why nowadays, we are using Mapperly, which is going to remove the dependency on runtime reflection, generating the code during the compilation time. You can view whatever code is being generated, which is not possible with the AutoMapper. With AutoMapper, you cannot see what code is being generated behind the scene. But with Mapperly, you can see the generated code. It is compile time. Any issues related to the type mismatch, any compilation will come into a picture at the time of a compilation, right? So all this benefit you will get with Mapperly, and most important, performance. So Mapperly will give you better performance comparing to AutoMapper. Why? Because of a runtime reflection. So as AutoMapper uses runtime reflection, definitely it will take more time. Why? Because Mapperly is not going to use runtime reflection. It will use compilation time build, right? I mean, the mapping code is going to be generated during the compilation time. So what I can say, what is Mapperly if someone asks you? So you have to tell Mapperly is a compile time object mapper. So object mapper means what? The mapping one object to another type. So it is a compile time object mapper means what? At the time of a compilation only, it will generate the mapping code which is going to map from one type to another. Also that mapping code is going to be generated right in the right. I mean that native code is also going to be generated ahead of time. So this code is going to be generated at the time of a compilation. So instead of relying on runtime convention and reflection, mapping inspect our partial mapper classes. So basically, we have to create some partial mapper class. So this class we need to generate during the compilation, and based on the right partial mapper classes, it is going to generate the mapping code at rate at the time of a compilation. So it uses .NET source generator. So this is a feature which is introduced in .NET 5. .NET 5. So using this feature, it will generate the code. It avoids runtime reflection completely. It provides build time validation. If anything went wrong, you will come to know at the time of a compilation. Completely you can view the source code, you can inspect the source code and right, I mean the generated code, and you can debug the code, which is not possible with the AutoMapper. So the point is that what you need to remember, Mapperly is the next generation mapper that delivers speed, safety, and clarity by generating lightweight mapping code, which is very similar to the right, very similar to the code what we generally write right, for doing the mapping manually. So that is what I'm going to show you practically. What type of a code is being generated. So why we need Mapperly we have discussed, because we are using a DTO. So we need to convert a DTO to what I can say entities as well as entities to DTO. That is the reason why we need some kind of auto mapping. And for auto mapping, we are going to make use of a Mapperly. Why? Because it is going to reduce the runtime reflection. It is going to generate the code during the compilation time. It is going to give you better performance, right? So why we need to use, right? Why Mapperly is prefer over AutoMapper? If someone asks you, right, then what you need to do? So you need to tell Mapperly, it is generate the mapping code during the compilation. AutoMapper, it generates the code at the time of a runtime, right? So zero runtime cost, there is nothing to do at the time of runtime. Native code is already generated, that is going to be executed directly. Immediate feedback. So if anything went wrong at the time of compilation, we'll get to know. Better visibility, you can see the generated source code, you can verify the source code, you can inspect the source code, you can debug the auto-generated source code, and most importantly, there is no reflection. So these are the benefit. That is the reason why we are using Mapperly over AutoMapper. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now,
Yes, sir.
one more thing that what we need to understand, that is, right, we are talking about ahead of time, and you mostly know about JIT. So basically, there are two types of compilation: just-in-time compilation. This is the traditional .NET behavior. So in this case, our source code will compile into intermediate language code, and when the application starts, this JIT compiler will convert this intermediate language into machine code at runtime. So compilation happens while the application is executing, right? So ahead of time means what? Now your C# code is compiled into native machine code when you publish or build the application. When you build the application, at that time, it is not generating the IL code. It is directly generating the native code based on the operating system where you build and publish the code. So this application code directly, runs directly as this is native code. So no JIT compilation occur at runtime. So with JIT, so there is a compilation. So compilation means at runtime, the JIT compiler will convert this IL code into machine code, but in this case, there is no such compilation happens at runtime. And this is the reason why it is going to give you better performance. So AOT is going to give better performance over JIT. Clear why it is going to give better performance over JIT? Because there is no JIT compilation occur at runtime. So directly machine code is being generated at the time of a build and publish. So which is going to be executed directly at the runtime. So no compilation. But with JIT, so that compilation will come into the picture. And that source code generated, that Mapperly what source code is going to generate, that source code is going to make use of this AOD, rate ahead of time compilation. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, first of all, I will show you one simple example, not a real-time one, very basic example, and I will make you understand how the code is being generated, how you can view the rate generated code, how exactly the syntax looks like, right? And then I'm going to show you that the concept, right, with one real-time application. So let me first create one project. Mapperly demo, any name you can give. So once we right, we create this project, right? What is our main objective? Our main objective, we want to convert the DTO to entity as well as entity to DTO. So to work with the Mapperly, first of all, we need to install the Mapperly package, which is going to generate the right code automatically. So for this purpose, what I need to do, need to install the package rio.mapperly. So let me go ahead and install this package rio.mapperly. This is the official patch that what you need to install to use Mapperly. So next, what I need to do, I need to create my DTOs as well as I need to create my entities. Within the, first of all, I need to create two folder, entities folder as well as the DTOs folder. Within the entities folder, I need to create all my entities, and within the DTOs folder, I need to create the related DTOs. So let me go ahead and create the same. So first of all, let me create a folder called entities. And also I need to create another folder called DTOs. So within the DTOs folder, I will create all my request and response DTOs. And within the entities folder, I will create my entity. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a single entity, not a complicated application, simple application. Complicated real time, we'll discuss after this example, right? So let me create this product entity. So this product entity I have created with few properties, item name, price, and I created on. Now what I need to do, I need to create my DTOs. So product response DTO. So whatever the product data I want to respond, right, not in the DTOs folder, I need to create within. So I need to create within the DTOs folder. So whatever the data I want written as part of the product. So for that purpose, I'm going to create one DTO. So mostly I will return all these properties, ID name price, but I don't want to return this created on. So for that purpose, I'm creating this product response DTO. Then I want to create two more data, one for creating a product, another for updating a product. So for creating a product, this is the data what I want. For creating a product, I need only name and price. Why? Now ID is going to be generated automatically. Created date is going to be set by the system, not right. And next, I want to create one update request DTO. So this update request DTO is going to contain ID, name as well as price. Why ID? Because based on the ID, it is going to update the data. Name and price, these are the data that is going to be updated. So these three things it is going to take: ID, name and price. So these are the three things, right? Now, so now, guys, remember to work with Mapperly, what you need to do, you need to create a partial class. You need to create a partial class, and that class must be decorated with the mapper. So once you create a partial class, and if that class is decorated with mapper, then that class will be behave like a mapperly class. And for that class, framework is going to generate the mapping code automatically, right? So let us proceed and understand this. So first of all, let me create a folder. So let me create a folder, mappers folder. So within this mappers folder, right, I'm going to do the mapping for which between whom and whom. I want to do the mapping between a product and a product response DTO, as well as from update product, create product to product DTO. So basically from product to product response, as well as from update to product and create product to product. So that DTO to entity as well as entity to DTO. For that mapping within my application, I don't want to do any manual mapping code. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a class file. And this class file means what? This class file only, right? That mapping code means what codes to be mapped, that what we need to inform. And automatically the framework is going to generate the code. So basically you can see this is my product mapper class. So the product mapper class means what? You can see this is a partial class. And for this partial class, I'm defining one mapper method. So what is a partial class? Can anybody tell me what is a partial class?
It's a class you can actually split in different halves. That's what a partial class
Exactly.
is.
Exactly. So partial class means you can split the class definition into multiple rate class files. So here one class file containing this partial class, another class file is also going to be generated by the framework, which is going to contain the implementation. So, and what about partial method? Partial method means what? Now you can declare the method one place and you can provide implementation of that method in another class file. So within this class file, right, you can see I'm only providing the declaration part, not the implementation part. So who will provide the implementation part? Guys, tell me who will provide the implementation part? So basically, you can say that implementation part is going to be provided to us by the Mapperly. So once we build the project, Mapperly will create another product mapper class, and that product mapper class is going to provide the implementation of these four methods, and the implementation going to contain the mapping logic. How this product will map to product response DTO, how this list of product will map to this list product response DTO, how this create product request DTO will map to product, and how this update request DTO will map to product. So that mapping logic is going to be decided by, I mean that logic is going to be implemented by the framework automatically for us. We are not going to write the mapping logic. If we are writing the mapping logic, then why I should create this mapper class? So this mapping logic is going to be auto-generated by the framework. So what is the syntax? You have to create a partial class, decorate that class as a mapper so that it will consider this is a mapper class. And within this class, you have to define the partial method. And within the partial method, you have to define what is the source object and what is the destination object. So in this case, first parameter is the source object. So it will convert this product DTO, product response DTO. It will convert this list of products to list of product response DTO. It will convert this product request DTO product, and it will convert this source to this destination. Clear? Name whatever the name you can you want, you can give. Clear? Yes or no? Is that clear, guys?
Yes.
Right? So now, so once this is done, right, what does the map does internally? So internally, it will create a class file containing the implementation for all the partial methods. So whatever the partial methods we have declared, all the partial methods implementation, it will create behind the scene for us. I will show you the source code. So before that, what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to provide some service classes where I need to write the business logic, where it is going to perform the operations, right? So let me first created a folder called services. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one in-memory data store. I'm not going to use any database, rather than I'm going to make use of in-memory data store. So first of all, I'm creating iProduct service interface. So where I'm going to define what all operations that I want to perform on the product object. So in this case, I want to return all the product. I want to return product by ID. I want to create a new product. I want to update an existing product. So these are the four service methods I have provided. And now what I need to do, I need to provide the implementation. Within the implementation, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the mapping logic, right? So let me proceed. So within the implementation, what I'm going to do, I'm going to perform the CRUD operation on an in-memory data store, not on database. So in this case, you can say this is going to be my in-memory data store. So this is going to be my in-memory data store. On this collection, I'm going to perform the operation. Means what? From this collection, I will retrieve the data, all the data by ID. I will add a new product to this collection. I will update an existing product, right? And I'm making this static means it will share across multiple requests. And again, what important now for mapping one, for example, here I'm retrieving a list of rate product response. So what I need to do, I want to convert this list of a product to list of a product response DTO. So how I can do this mapping? I'm not going to do this mapping manually. So I'm not going to create a loop or looping through all the product page one by one and convert that into product response detail. So for that purpose, what I'm going to do, I have already created my product mapper. So this product mapper instance you need to create, and using this product mapper instance, can I call this method to map a list of a product to list of product response DTO? Yes or no?
Yes.
For
Yes.
mapping a list of product to list of
Yes.
product response DTO. Can I call this method? Yes. See how I'm doing here. Now, first of all, you have to initialize this mapper. So this mapper will register right into the dependency injection container, so that the dependency injection container provides that instance to us. So once we got the mapper instance, right, as I'm making this red method asynchronous, I'm intentionally delaying the program execution by 1 second. While let consume, this is the time taken, right, to get the data from the database. So once I have this list of a product, then what I need to do, mapper dot products, write products to product DTOs. So I need to call this products to product DTOs method, passing the source object this is, and it will return me list of product DTO response, and that response I'm returning. So within my service, am I write a single right? Am I doing this mapping manually? Yes or no? No. So that mapping logic is going to be handled by this statement. So you do not need to do the mapping manually. So get by ID method. So from my product manager class, tell me which method will take a single product and return me a single product response DTO? Is this method
Yes.
product to product? So let's see how I'm using this one. First of all, I'm delaying the execution by 1 second. From this products, I'm retrieving the product whose ID matched with this incoming ID. This is my product. So first of all, I'm checking if product is null. If this product is not available, if the ID whatever the user is provided, if that ID is invalid, does it make sense to do the mapping? Yes or no?
Yes.
So why should I map? Why should I do? If the product is null, do I need to map that null object to product response DTO?
No.
Yes or no?
No.
No. So if a product is null, simply return null. So what is the ternary operator? So if this condition is true, return this value. If product is not null, then do the mapping. So in this case, it will map this product to product DTO, and that object it will return from this method, right? So now, right, if then this is create async method. For create async method, what method I need to use for doing the mapping? Guys, be participate and tell me what method I need to use for mapping create product request DTO to product entity.
The third method.
Create
Third
product
method.
request DTO to product.
So create product request DTO to product, right? Naming convention is important. So in this case, whatever the DTO I received, that DTO I'm converting to entity. So how? Now by calling this method. So once I got the product, just increase the ID by 1, and also, right, I also need to set the right created on that time value. Clear? And then add that to product. And then finally, once you add the product, then what I need to do, I need to return the newly created product with the updated ID. So what I need to do, again, this product is containing the data, whatever the incoming data plus the data which is being set by the system. So finally, I need to convert that product to right product response DTO. So this is for mapping the DTO to entity, and this is for mapping entity to DTO. And that DTO I'm returning from this method. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Right? And this is update async. So whatever the product you want to update, first of all check whether that product available based on the ID. If product is null, return null. If product is available, then call this update product DTO from right update product from DTO, passing that DTO and the product. So in this case, what exactly it is going to do? So it will map the DTO, whatever the properties are being set to this product, and this product is now going to contain the updated data, and then I need to, right, once the data is updated, then that updated data I want to return to the client. So basically that database part is missing, which I mean that is what I'm going to discuss in the next example. So this is going to my product service class. So next what I need to do, I need to register my right
Actually, I have
services.
one question here.
Yes,
Hello.
yes,
I
yes,
have one
please.
question here. Why are you using the API execution at 1 second delay? Does we need to do this by every time you are using the Mapperly?
No, no, no. See, so basically in real time, from where you need to fetch this data?
Data.
From
From the
database.
database. So whenever you are
Database.
performing the operation on the database, so that operation is going to be a async operation or a synchronous operation.
Yes, it is a synchronous operation.
Asynchronous. If I'm not using this await
Yes.
keyword, then this method will be considered as a synchronous method, right? Right. So as
Right.
I'm making method as asynchronous, so to right to satisfy that this method is a asynchronous method, I'm simply see if you are using one asynchronous method, within that method 100% you have to make a await call. If you are not making any await call, then it will behave like a synchronous method. So basically this await means what? I'm explicitly using this one so that this method will be considered as a asynchronous method. And let's assume this 1 second is the time taken to get the data from the database. Clear?
Yes,
But
clear.
when I'm going to use the actual database, at that time I will not write this statement. At that time I'm going to write await db context dot after default async. That logic I'm going to write. Clear?
Yes, clear. Understood. Thanks.
Now what I need to do within the program class, I need to register my service. I need to register my product mapper, and let's see how it is going to do the same thing, right? So for example, this is my program class. Let me replace. So first of all, this is my controller services I'm registering. So this product mapper what I created, that product mapper also I'm registering as singleton service. Singleton service is more than sufficient because it contains only the mapping code. So one instance is more than sufficient. Then also I'm registering my product service and iProduct service. So you can see I'm registering product and iProduct service. As you can see, it is a this product service using this one. So I'm making this also as a singleton service. But guys, remember, whenever you are dealing with a database, you have to make this as a scoped service, right? So that's it. So this is the changes. Finally, what I need to do, I need to create my products controller. So let me go ahead and create the controller class. Let me first remove this weather forecast. See, this is, I'm injecting my product service, and then write get all method. It is simply calling that get all async method, get by ID, passing this ID, calling this get by ID. Service class method, it is simply calling perform the operation, and whatever the data they return, it is simply written from the application. Now one more thing that what you need to write update. If you want to show, right, by default, it will not allow you to see. By default, it will not allow you to see the auto-generated source code. I mean the auto-generated mapping code. So if you want to see the mapping code, right, which is going to be generated by the application, so go to the mapping demo and add one item, add one property group. So within this property group, right, so basically what I need to do, I need to add this statement. So within the property group, so add this statement, emit compiler generated files. So basically emit compiler generated files means it will allow you to see the compiler generated files. So whatever the files are going to be generated after compilation. So whatever we created, that what we can see. Whatever going to be generated by the framework, those files, if you want to see, you have to write this statement. So once you write this statement, it will show you the compiler generated file. So now once you have write this statement, the next what I need to do, I need to build the project. So once you build the project, that auto generated mapping code is going to be generated. So build successful, see, build successful. Now, so how to view the generated mapping code? So basically, right, to view the generated mapping code, you have to go to this location. obj debug .NET 8.0. So go to the project file folder, right? So obj debug .NET 8.0. Here you can see generated rio.mapperly, rio.mapperly.mapper generator, and this is the product mapper.js class file. So now open this class file in Visual Studio. Right, so this is the auto-generated writing mapping. So now, okay, let it be there. Close other tabs and open that product mapper. So what is that first method? So first of all, you can say that class name is the same as this class name. So product mapper, here also it is the product mapper. Clear? The class name, partial class means that class definition is split into multiple places. So some of the definition part is here and some other part is also here. So the first method is a product to product DTO. So generally, if you want to do the mapping, so this is how you need to do. You need to create an instance of the destination class, and from the source project, you just need to do the mapping, ID, name, price, and to this properties and returning. So basically, this method, this is the code generally you write to the mapping from one entity to, sorry, right, from one entity to DTO or something else. So this is how you are doing the mapping or not,
Yes.
right? And then this is a collection. So looping through each product, and each time it is calling this method. So each time it is calling this method, which is going to do the mapping. Similarly, create a product requested to DTO. So in this case, you can see create a product requested to DTO. In that at the time of a creation, it is only mapping the name and the price. Why? Because these two things are available. And in case of a update, name, price, and ID. So this code is being generated automatically when we compile the project by the framework. Clear or not?
Yes, clear.
Right? So now if you run the application, it will work as expected, right? So if there is some issue, then it will not allow, but right, for example, right? So it is working. Let me show you some issue. Product to product DTO, right? See, if you are getting right, if you are doing something wrong, you are getting the compilation error immediately, right? So, I mean, if any issue is there, compilation error you will get immediately. So, let me first create a new product. So, for testing this one, I need to create a product. So, for creating a product, I need to pass two parameters. What are the parameter? Name and price. So, this should create a product. And once it create the product, it is returning this response. That is fine. So if you want to get that product detail, so pass this one. So you are getting the product information. Similarly, if you want to update that product details, so you can pass this right updated informations. So it is also working. That means our application is working as expected. Clear?
Yes.
Clear? So this is just a small example to demonstrate how the mapping is automatically work. I mean, what is the syntax, what you need to follow. So one important thing that what you need to remember, in this case, the mapping is going to be done automatically when both the source and the destination property names and types are compatible. So in this case, if you see whatever the product and product response DTO, so in the product DTO, whatever the property name I defined, ID name price, and in product response DTOs, the same ID name price is defined and the data type are also compatible. If the name are different or if the data type are not compatible, mapping will not be done automatically. So, but sometimes what happens now, we our entities are having different name, our DTOs are going to have having some different name, some data type is not compatible. So in situations like this, we need to customize the mapper, right? So basically, wherever the product mapping is done, we need to tell if the mapping property name and type are not compatible, then how you can do the mapping. So for that purpose, we need to understand the advanced concepts, right? So let us proceed and try to understand this mapping with one real-time application. So basically, right, the real-time application means what? I'm going to show you, right, many things. So many things means the current example, what I have shown you, this is a very, very basic one. Basic one means mapping two compatible type with the same property name with the same data type. But sometimes what happens, now we want to map some primitive type to complex type. Some primitive, right? A city state country is there in the DTO. And we want to map the city state country to a entity in our entity. Again, we want to map some complex type to primitive type. We want to handle enum. By default, enums are going to be integer. We want to convert them into string type. We want to calculate some computed columns. We want to handle that null substitution. We want to provide some fixed and dynamic values. We want to ignore some system generated field, which should be set by the application, not by the rate mapper. So in situations like this, we want to understand the advanced concept, right? So let us try to understand all these advanced scenarios by taking one real-time applications. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes.
Right now, in this project, right, I'm going to make use of a database. I'm going to make use of a CRUD operation. I'm going to make use of a multiple entities, complex type to primitive, primitive type to complex, conditional mapping, ignoring some properties, providing some default value, providing some dynamic values, right? If the property value is null, I'm providing some default things I'm going to do. So let us proceed and develop the application. So for this purpose, I'm going to develop one order management system. So let me first delete that database. Mapping Mapperly order demo. So any name you can give. Okay. So once you create the project, next what you need to do, you need to install the packages. So we have already know if you want to work with Entity Framework Core, three packages you need to install: Entity Framework Core, Data Provider, and the Tools package. As well as we are going to work with the Mapperly, so this package also we need to install. So let us proceed and install these packages. So as we are working with the .NET 8, so we need to install the .NET 8 compatible packages, right? So I'm specifying the version number explicitly. So this is .NET 8 compatible packages for Entity Framework Core, right? Why I'm explicitly specifying? Because if I do not explicitly specify the version, then it will install the latest one, which is .NET 10, EF Core 10, and EF Core 10 is not compatible with .NET 8. So that is the reason why I'm explicitly specifying. But here, whatever the latest Mapperly package, that is compatible with .NET 8, so I don't need to specify the version. So these are the packages that what we have created now. Now what I need to do, first of all, I will create all my entities. So let me proceed and create the entities. So in this case, address is going to be created as a one entity. One entity means it doesn't exist automatically. It will be used by other entities. So let me start with the address entities. So whatever the address data we want to store, so that what I'm going to store here. So basically, line one, city, state, country. So these are the data what I want to store as part of the address. This address I'm going to store as a one entity. So customer, right? When I'm creating a customer, whatever the data is required, that data I'm going to take along with the address information. So, right. So let me created this one. So here you can see customer ID, full name, mobile, email. So this address. So here you can see address. I'm using address. So it will be used as a one entity. Clear? So when the customer is registered, is active, right? Uh, Audit columns, right? So audit columns like created by, created on, updated on, and the list of orders. So these are the data that what I have provided in the customer. So here, this is going to be a one entity, right? Here. Next, I'm going to create the product entity. So I'm trying to make this application a real-time one. So let me go ahead and create the product entity. So why I'm making this one? Because I once, right, basic you can easily understand, but real-time uses using Mapperly is little complicated. And to make that concept right complex so that you can easily understand, so I'm making this example more complicated. So this is going to my product entity, ID name, price, and is active. So if you want to add some additional field, like description, that what you can also add. For example, name, here I'm applying this one, description. So that's what I'm applying here. It is a nullable type. So next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create my order entity. So in the order entity, it will make use of enum, it will make use of a collection, right, list of order, right, all these things it is going to use. So here you can see this is my order status enum. What are the different status pending, paid, cancelled? You can create a separate enum. I'm creating this one here. That is fine. So this is my customer ID. So customer list of order items, total amount, each paid, order status. So here I'm storing the shipping address. Again, this is a complex type and this is going to be one entity. So in this case, whatever the shipping address, that is what I'm storing here, created on, updated on, and created by system. So these are the data that what I'm going to store as part of the order. Guys, anytime you are not understanding anything, you can write, ask me directly. So order item, let me create the next entity that is going to be order item. This is going to contain the line item of a particular purchase. So it should store the order ID, which is going to foreign key. So product ID, product and the quantity. So these are the data it is going to store in the order item entity. So these are all entities that what we are going to work. So out of this 4 tables, we are going to create one customer, product, order, and order items. On this address, this is going to be a one entity. It is being used within the customer as well as within the order. To in the customer, it will store the customer address, and in the order, it will store the shipping address. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Now, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to create all my DTOs, right? So let me start with the, let's start by creating a folder, DTOs folder. Within this DTOs folder, let us proceed and create all the required DTOs. So first of all, create a customer DTO, create a customer request DTO. So every right DTO, whatever you created, that should that name should itself tell for what purpose this DTO. For example, create a customer. So this DTO is being used for creating a customer. So as it is being used as part of a request, I'm using this request and DTO is the extension. So create a customer request DTO means this DTO is being used for creating a customer. Pratik, you want to say something?
Yes, I'm just wondering why. I know you're using DTOs. Any between using DTOs of or AutoMapper, which would you prefer?
So AutoMapper not prefer na. So I have already discussed why you should not use AutoMapper, why you should go with Mapperly. Are you attending the session from the beginning?
I joined a bit late.
So just watch the session from the beginning. AutoMapper means that is a runtime reflection. Runtime reflection means what? Whatever the mapping code that is going to be generated at runtime. So as it is being generated at runtime, it will take more time, right? And this Mapperly, it is compile time. Compile time means at the time of a compilation, it will generate the mapping code. Secondly, whatever the mapping related issues related to AutoMapper, you will only come to know when you run the application, not at the compilation time. But with Mapperly, you will come to know all these things at the time of a compilation. Thirdly, you cannot see the mapping code which is being generated by AutoMapper at runtime. But I can show you, already I have shown you what mapping code is being generated by Mapperly. Fourth thing, AutoMapper nowadays, if you want to use AutoMapper for any right, e-commerce application or any right project, real-time project, then you have to buy the paid license. But with the Mapperly, it is completely free. Most important, AutoMapper. And if you are comparing Mapperly with AutoMapper, Mapperly gives you better performance than AutoMapper because Mapperly is not using a reflection concept. So this is create the customer DTO. So if you see for creating a customer, full name, mobile, email, address, registration, this is going to be generated by system. So these are the data which is going to be generated by the system. So mostly these 4 fields are required for creating a customer. See, full name, mobile, email. So most important thing what you need to understand. So full name, mobile, email. So these are the data, full name, mobile, email. But in this case, address. So in my entity, address is a complex type. But in my DTO, address data, I'm taking as simple parameter. So address line 1, city, state, and pin code. Again, if you compare this address, then here line 1, here line 1, city, state, and pin code. And here I'm putting this address line 1. So name is also different. Line 1, address line 1, city, state, and pin code. Clear? Clear? So
Yes.
basically, entity
Yes.
having some other name, and in the DTO we are having a different name. Plus, in the entity we are having a complex type, but in the DTO we are having the primitive type. So at runtime, right? So basically, while I'm generating the mapping code, so we need to tell, right, that these properties, address line, city, state, and pin code, should map to this address entity, plus this address line 1 should map to with this line 1. That manually, right, that mapping we have to provide. We have to give the information so that they can generate the mapping code automatically, right? So how to provide those information, I'm going to show you in some time. Next one is customer response DTO. So once the customer is created, so whatever the data you want to return, so for that purpose, I'm using this customer response DTO. So in the request DTO, you have to use the validation, but not in the response DTO. Validation is not required. So in the response, whatever the data I want to return, ID, full name, email, phone number, city, state, source system, right? And then mapped at UTC. So basically, you can see right here, some properties are there which is exist. So these properties I want to map, right? So basically, in the entity, in the customer entity, you can see there is a mobile, and in the DTO, we are having a different name. So when the names are different, how you can do the mapping? So from the complex type, I don't want to map all the properties. I want to map only city and state. If you want to map other properties, you can create them. So some fixed and dynamic values I'm also going to store. So source system, some right fixed value I'm going to provide map.utc, some dynamic data, right? Map.utc means what when that mapping is done, right? That time I'm going to return. So this is for the testing purpose, not for our real time use cases. You can ignore these properties, right, in real time. Clear? Clear or not?
Clear.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Next, I want to create an order. So for that purpose, I'm going to create one create order request DTO. So let me go ahead and create this class file. Create order request DTO. So here you can see customer ID, list of create order item request DTO. So let me do one more thing. So let me put this DTO first so that compilation error will not get. Let me first create order item request DTO. So whatever the line items are required, right? Whatever the product the customer is purchasing, that details I'm taking using this create order item request DTO, and the request DTO means it is going to be sent by the client only. So product ID and quantity, and this DTO I'm using right in my create order request DTO. So which customer placing the order, whatever the line items, then here you can say shipping address, shipping line 1, shipping city, shipping state, and shipping pin code. And this data I want to map to this shipping address. And in address entity, you can see the properties are different. So basically, how that mapping is going to be done automatically, right? That what we need to provide in the information. So how to provide the information, we will see once we create the mapper class. Clear? This class file is clear. Intentionally, I'm providing different name. If I'm putting the line 1, city, state, and country, mapping will done automatically, right? Not automatically. We have to do the mapping from this primitive type to complex type. But how we are going to do this thing, we are going to discuss. So next, create order request DTO we have created. Then order response DTO. So once the order is generated, once the order is created, so whatever the response you want to return, so I'm going to return that response using this order response DTO. So order response DTO. So again, to avoid that compilation error from the beginning at the time of creation, I'm moving this order item response detail little bit earlier, right? So let me first create this one, then this one. So order item response detail, let me create that one. So this is this DTO is being used to hold the line item of a particular entity while returning the data: product ID, product name, unit price, quantity, and line total. And then this is going to be my order item response DTO. So here ID, whatever the customer name, total amount, status, created on, shipping city, shipping state, and list of order items. This is the data that what we are going to return. Clear? So these are the DTO. Uh, Till now we have not yet discussed the mapping, how the mapping is going to be done. So we'll discuss in some time. Before that, let me create the DB context. So let me create a folder, data. Within this data folder, let me create one class file, application DB context, app DB context. This class file, within this class file, I'm going to provide some initial dummy data. I'm going to provide my DB set properties. So let me go ahead and do this thing. So here you can see out of this 5 entities, address is a one entity. I don't need to create a DB set property for this. Customer order, order item, product. So these are going to be my DB set properties for which we want to create a table. So customer wants address, order wants this shipping address. So this address type is address, the shipping address type is also address. So basically customer and order, that the complex property what we define, that is going to be a one entity. That what we need to specify. Seed UTC, when the when you are inserting some seeded data, you cannot use new date time, you cannot use new GUID. So in every value that must be hard coded. So here we are specifying one hard coded value when it is being generated. So we are providing some customer, dummy customer data, we are providing the customer addresses, and we are providing some dummy product. Order item that is going to be generated right through our API. So some basic or some dummy or some seed data we have provided for customer address and product. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes.
Is that clear? Okay. Now what I need to do, I need to create the mapping, right? Mapperly classes, partial classes we need to create. So first of all, create a folder. So where I need to create a folder at the project root directory mappers. So while I'm going to use mapping, right? So how I can handle the mismatch naming, how we can convert one complex type to primitive, how to convert from one primitive type to complex type, right? How to provide some computed columns or fixed values. So how to ignore some properties, right? For this purpose, Mapper provided us with some Mapper provided with some attributes. Let us first understand this attribute: map property source and a target. So basically, whenever the source and target property names are different, so whenever the source and target property names are different, if you want to map those properties correctly, so that I mean, you need to tell the framework, hey, this is the source property and this is the target property. Please do the mapping. Then in that case, we have to make use of this map property attribute. For example, you can see in the customer and customer response DTO. In customer, so we are having this mobile, and in customer response DTO, we are having this phone number. This property names are different. And if you want to map this property correctly, you have to use this map property. Here you need to specify what is the source property, and the second parameter is going to be the destination property, so that the framework now map this mobile to phone number. Clear? So how to map a property if they are different in name? Clear or not? Clear or not? Is that clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Right? So basically, if the source and the destination property names are different, you have to use map property. Second. So secondly, now sometimes what happens, now I want to map a property, but not from the source object. I want to map, I want to provide a value to the destination property, but not from the source property, but I want to call a custom method, right? For example, for example, in the customer response DTO, I'm having this source system, I'm having this mapped. I want to provide a right fixed value. I want to provide a dynamic value. So how I can do this thing? Now for this purpose, we have to make use of some right map property from source syntax. So map property from source, the first parameter is nothing but your destination property, which property value you want to set. And if you want to set this property value from a custom method, then you have to use this syntax. Use equals to whatever the method name. So in this case, get source system is a method which is going to return a value, and that value is going to be set within this source system property. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes, clear.
So basically, sometimes we are not mapping from the source object property to destination object property. Instead, we are calling some custom method, and that method is going to return me the data, and that data I want to store. So in that case, I have to make use of this map property from source. For example, so in this case, so if you see order item, so in the order item, I'm having this quantity, right? And in order item response, unit price and quantity. So in order item, we are storing that the order ID, product ID. So let me also store the price. Right? See, in this case, we are already having this product. From this product, I can also get the unit price. But let's store that unit price also here, right? So as I'm storing that one, so I have to use that precision, right? So basically, this unit price into quantity, that is going to be the line total. So, but that line total, whatever I want to return, that property is available here or not? Just tell me, whatever the line total property, is this available in my entity?
No.
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 So, but if you go to order item response DTO, is there any line total is available?
Yes.
So this line total, I want to calculate unit price into quantity, right? So how I can do this? So I can call a custom method, and that custom method is going to calculate the total, and the total will be set in this property. So basically, sometimes what happens, we need to call some custom method, and whatever the data that custom method is returning, that we want to set in the destination property. So if that is what your scenario, you have to use map property from source object. So map property, simply property mapping, map property from source, mapping from a custom method. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes.
Right. Map ignore target. Right. Map ignore target means what? Now it instruct Mapperly to skip mapping a specific property in the object. So whichever property you don't want to map. For example, I don't want to map some of the properties while I'm doing the creation. Right. For example, in this case, right, that the customer status created on. So these are the properties which is going to be set by the system, by the business logic, by the service layer. So I don't want to map these properties from the source to destination. Okay. If you don't want to map, please specify that property name using this map ignore target attribute. Clear?
Yes.
Clear? So this is the combination of a two. So map property, source, target, and the custom method. So this is the combination of map property and use. Mapping different named properties, apply custom transformation method. What exactly it means? Now, once the property name are different, so in this case, source property name is different. target property name is different, and you also want to apply some custom logic to convert one to another. So here, so what is my requirement? Now I want to map this source property to this target property, but after doing some type of a conversion. For example, so in this case, this target is a enum and this source is a string. So this target is a enum, this source is a string. So I cannot convert this, I cannot directly map this integer to string because of a incompatible type. So what I need to do, I need to make use of this custom function. So this custom function will take the target, convert that target to string, and that string will be stored inside this function. Clear? For example, order status, order response DTO status. In order response DTO, right? It will convert, right? Take the source object. So this is my source. So this is order status enum. Convert it to its toString, and that toString is going to be assigned to this destination property. And that conversion is going to be handled by a custom function that is status to string. So these are the custom function name. Any name you can give. So I'm going to write now. Now, if this is not clear at the moment, so you are not understanding the syntax. Okay, don't worry. Now let us proceed and do this mapping one by one. Customer mapper. So let me first go ahead and create one mapper for customer. Customer mapper. So let me go ahead and create the class file. Guys, remember that class must be partial. Whatever all method you define, they also must be partial. Right now. So this is my partial class. So within this partial class, this is my method. So what exactly this method is going to do? It will map customer to customer response DTO. Clear? So what exactly this method is going to do? This method is going to map customer to customer response DTO. So let me do one thing. So close other tabs, and open customer and customer response tab. Customer, this is my customer, and this is my customer response DTO tab. So within this tab, right, that mapping is going to be done. But within this tab, does all the property name, and in this case, the property name are same order, same type? No. So whatever the difference is there, that's what we need to specify here explicitly. So first of all, so in this case, my source is going to be this entity, customer, and destination is this one. So source is customer, destination is this one. So in source entity, we are having mobile, and in the destination entity, we are having phone number. So how I can do this mapping? By using the map property. So in map property, customer.mobile, this is in the source entity. First parameter is representing the source. The second parameter is representing the destination. So from the source entity, that is the customer entity, please map a mobile to phone number. Clear? This mapping is clear? Similar, clear or not?
Clear.
Clear or not? Right now. Now in the source entity, I'm having this address complex type. But in the destination entity, I'm having primitive type, city and state. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or no? So from this address dot state, address dot city, those things I need to map to this one. So how I can do this thing? Mapping. So here specify from the source entity customer dot address dot city will be mapped to write this primitive type. Similarly, state will map to this primitive type. Clear? Right? Now what I need to do? I need to map these two properties, source system and a map.utc. So this is source system, right? What I'm going to do, I'm going to get the value from a custom method. That method name is going to be get source system. Similarly, right, when this mapping is done, that time I want to return. For that purpose, I'm also going to make use of one method, that is get mapped at UTC. So now if you go to the logic, right, here you can see get source system. It is returning a simple value, that is Mapperly order demo. This is get mapped, so it is always going to take the parameter is always going to take the source object, right? Because from the source object, if you want to do any kind of changes, right, conversion, that what you can easily do. Right here you can see it is returning Mapperly order demo. Any constant value you can return just for the demo purpose. and when this mapping is done at that time. So that value I'm returning from this custom method. So this custom method I have specified here. So this customer entity to customer response DTO, that mapping is clear or not? Clear or not?
Sir, below you showed something, sir, orderly. Could you please help?
Sorry.
Here, sir, here. Mapper only order demo. That is.
See, this is just a right. It is just returning a simple right string.
Okay, okay, sir. Got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
Returning a string. So as it is a single statement, I can use the certain syntax. Otherwise, you can use this thing. Clear? So these are some static custom method, and those method I'm calling from here.
Can we use inline arrow function in the place of defining?
You can use not an issue, but
Okay.
generally if you are using use, you have to specify a method.
Okay.
Right? So this mapping is done. This DTO is right, a customer to DTO, right? Is that clear? Okay. The second method, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use that is two entities. So two DTO. So when I'm saying two DTO means what? Entity to DTO. So when I'm saying two entity means what? DTO to entity. So in this case, say first of all, I'm doing create a customer request DTO to customer. So this part is done. So create a customer request DTO. So this is my DTO, and this DTO I want to convert to this entity. So for that purpose, I'm using this one. So now please observe. So first of all, right, in this case, I'm having this email, and that email I want to map to this email. So for this purpose, here you can see I'm using this one. So DTO, if it is empty or null, that's what I'm going to verify. So here you can see I'm using the other syntax. This is my destination, this is my source, this is my destination, this property will be mapped to this, but using this email or empty. So basically this is a custom method. So this custom method is going to check, right, whether this email is null or empty. If it is null or empty, it is going to return NA, otherwise it will return that actual value. So this is one method that what I have created. If this email is null or empty, it will return NA, otherwise that associated value it is going to return, right? So that part is clear. Second address, you can see customer address. So in this case, right, you can see in my source, right, in my source, this is my address line 1, city, state, pin code is there, but in customer entity, that complex type is there. So I want to map this one. So how I can do this mapping? Now customer dot address, this is my customers, I mean the destination property, and this destination property I'm going to fill, right? And to fill this destination property, I'm creating one method that is toAddress, and you can see that toAddress taking that customer DTO, and from this customer DTO, right? You can see it is creating one instance of this right address and returning that. If you are not getting this thing, okay, let me simplify this thing. Clear? Because I know you are not, many people are not understanding the advanced syntax. So this is the simplify method. So this method taking the customer requested DTO, whatever the right source object, and from this DTO, it is creating a destination instance, and that destination instance, it is going to assign to this address property. That mapping we are doing here. So this method will convert the source object data into one type. That type is very much similar to this customer address. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes.
Right? And then in the customer entity, some of the properties we don't want to map, even though the customer client specified this ID property registered on, is active, created by, created on, updated on. So these things we want to ignore. So ID registered is active, created by, created on, updated on orders, right? So these are the properties which we don't want to map from the source object. Clear? Two entities clear? Clear or not? Yes or no? So basically, within this customer mapper class, we have defined two partial method, two DTO as well as two entity. So within this helper method, I mean within this custom class, we have also do some custom mapping when the property names are different. How to map a property from the with some fixed value, with some dynamic value. How to convert complex type to primitive. How to convert primitive type to complex type. It's all these things we have discussed within this mapper class. Anyone having any question? Yes or no? Clear or not?
Clear.
Next, I'm going to create my order mapper. So let me go ahead and create the mapper. So in this case, right, it is going to map order to order response details. So let me first open those two class files. Those are the tabs. So this is going to my order and this is going to my order response tab. So in this case, let us try to observe what are the, see, when the property names are same, no issue. So in the order, we are having, customer. So if you go to the customer entity, we are having this full name. And this full name, I want to map with this customer name. In the order dot customer dot full name, customer dot full name, we want to map to this customer name. So how I can do this mapping? Now order dot customer dot full name, I want to map with this customer name property. Clear?
Yes.
So similarly, order dot shipping address dot city, I want to map to shipping city, state to shipping state, right? Similarly, you can see in the order, we are having this order status. So order status, it is a enum. But in order response DTO, the status is a string. So how I can do this? Now this is my order status, source object, destination. This is going to be order response DTO dot status. This status property I want to map, right? I mean, this is, you can see enum and this is a string. So this enum I want to convert to string type. For this purpose, I'm making use of this private static helper method status to string. So somewhere you can see I'm defining this one. If you are not getting the understanding this code, so simply do this one. So whatever the status, it will convert that status to string and it will return that string representation, right? So this is my two details. So it will convert order to order response DTO. Now, entity mapping. So when it comes to entity mapping, we have a different scenario. Different scenario means, let us start with this one. So entity mapping, create order request. So here you can see create order request and I want to map this create order request to order DTO. So the same mapping I have to do here also, right? ID, see, when I'm doing this mapping, create order request to order DTO, I don't want to take this ID from the client. So what I need to do, ignore the ID. I don't want to take this customer object. I want customer ID, but not this customer object. Ignore the customer object, right? So this, I don't want to map this order items, right? Uh, Directly here. So order items, I want to store the order items, right, by doing the operation because in my order item, I'm having multiple properties, right? ID, product ID, unit price, quantity, this price, quantity, whether they are available or not, what is the current price, I need to fetch from the database. So I don't want to map that order items directly. I will set items programmatically, right, as per my business logic, right? So next, you can see this total amount I need to calculate dynamically. So status, it should be calculated dynamically. Each paid, it should calculate it dynamically. Created on, created by, these are audit columns should be set by the rate, what I can say. It should be set by the system. And finally, you can see I'm having in order table, I'm having the shipping address complex property, but here we are having this primitive property. So this primitive properties, I want to map the same concept. So the destination shipping address is going to be set using this to address method, which we have already discussed. So again, if you are getting confused, so let me simplify this one. It will return that address, and that address is going to be set here, right? So this is where we have shipping address. So this is how it is going to do the mapping. So this method to DTO, order to order response. So create order, request to order. So to entity, to DTO, is that clear? Clear or not?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So apart from this, right, order, create order item request DTO. So here you can see uh, in the order item, so we are having this create order item request DTO, and that what we need to map with my order item DTO, right? And in this case, right, while doing the mapping, right, whatever the data, right, they have provided, here you can see order item. So this is my order item entity, and in order response, this is my order response entity. So these are the entities. So in order item response, product ID and quantity. In order ID, so we are having ID, we are having order, we are having product, we are having unit price. All these things are there. So those things we don't want to map automatically, right? So here you can see order navigation set in the service, product navigation set in the service, and along this, right, we also need to ignore the order item ID, which is going to be right ID set in the service. Also, another thing I need to right check that price, unit price, it is also going to be set by the service. Clear? Clear?
How this list is assigned is a list also, that is a collection, no? A property.
I will show you that one. How to how to make use of this method for the collection, I will show you, right? But here, how it is happening, is that clear? Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Right? So this consider, I'm not talking about collection. So what I mentioned from the beginning. So it is not going to map that collection to collection. So from this order request, these items will not map to this list of items. Rather than these items, whatever I have create item request DTO, that's what I want to map with this order item, right? So how it is going to happening behind the scene, I will show you, right, while I'm doing the mapping. So for now, these are the right. I mean, create order item request DTO to order item. Clear? And finally, this is order item to order item response DTO. Right. So here product ID you can see, product name you can see, unit price. Right. So basically in this case order item dot product dot price. So in this case order item source product dot ID product name order item. So in order item, we are having this unit price, right? So which is automatically set. So you do not need to specify this mapping, because when the property name are same, that mapping is going to be done automatically. So you can ignore this one because we have identity unit price. So line total, that is going to be generated by this method, calculate line total. So if you come here, this calculate line total, it is going to calculate the total. So return. So in this case, the product item dot price. So in this case, you can use item dot unit price. item.unit price into quantity. That's what you can apply here. Clear? Because we are storing now unit price. So this is going to be my order mapper. Clear? Clear or not? If anyone having any question, any doubt, right, ask me. Okay. So next, right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create services which is going to make use of a Mapperly, right? So first of all, let me create the services folder. Services folder. And in this services folder, let me first add I customer service for creating the customer or performing the operation related to customer like create customer, get all customer, get customer by ID, then implement that customer service within the service folder. And this is now going to make use of right, what I can say, our Mapperly code. See, so customer service, it is taking DB context, it is taking the customer mapper. So let me close all other tabs and open this customer mapper. So initializing all these three things right now. So in this case, first of all, right, while I'm creating a customer, what is my requirement? My requirement to ensure mobile number is going to be unique, right? You can use email, you can use mobile number, anything is fine. So here my intention, mobile number needs to be unique. So here I'm checking whether the mobile number is already taken or not. If it is already taken, I'm throwing this exception, that's fine. So if mobile number is unique, then what I need to do? I need to map that entity. So what entity? Create customer request DTO to customer. So for that purpose, what method I need to use? To DTO or to entity? What method I need to use to map this DTO to entity on this customer mapper? What method I need to use? Next, tell me, two method we have defined, two DTO and two entity. So this two entity method converting my DTO to entity. So in this case, what I need to do, I need to use that logic. So mapper dot to entity, I need to pass my DTO, which is going to return me the entity. So that mapping is already done. So then what I need to do, I need to set the properties which is going to be set by the system. Is active, registered, created, uncreated by. Then I'm adding that property to DB context, calling the step changes method. So once I call the step changes method, my entity is ready. So with the newly generated ID and that entity, I'm converting back to DTO. So if you are getting this one, so you can also create one response, create DTO equals to this one, right? So I am getting this error. Okay, so DTO is already there. So whatever the name you want, you can give. So that's what you can return. So why I should write this two statement? Directly I can write this statement which is going to return the mapping object, right? So that's what you can understand. So this is what, right? This is how it is going to create a customer. But within this application, I have not written any customer logic. I mean custom mapping logic. Get all active customer. So first of all, it fetch all the customers which are active and order by the registration date. And then, so here you can see list of customer. So what I need to do? So in my code, right? In my code, you can see, so this is customer to DTO and this is customer to entity, right? So is there any method which is available which will take list of customer and convert that to list of a customer response DTO?
No.
Any method is there? Yes or no?
No.
No. Then how I can do this thing? Now I can call that within a loop. So here This select is nothing but a loop. So for each customer, it is calling that DTO. So for each customer, it is calling, it is converting that customer to DTO, and that list of DTO it is returning. Clear?
Yes.
Is there any way
Yes.
to define those things and also in the mapper configuration?
Sorry.
Is there any way to define the list also in the
Yes, you
mapper?
can. Yes, you can define what you need to do. The
Mm.
same logic you need to repeat here. For example,
Mm.
the logic what we defined here, customer to DTO, this one, right?
Mm.
So just create a copy, and here just define list of customers, and here it is going to be list of customer response DTO to DTOs. Clear? And now within this class file, what you need to do, so we are already having this DTOs, so you can direct write this statement, return underscore mapper dot to DTOs. Clear?
Yeah, clear. Clear.
Right? So but again right, the same logic is repeated now. So I'm writing the same thing here. Right? For example, if I'm having the one object conversion, if I want to convert a list of, then I can call that method within a loop. Internally, this two DTOs is going to create the loop only. And that's what I have already shown you. Then why should I do the same thing again and again? Right? If you want, right, you can use. Otherwise, you can call that method right inside a loop. Any approach IT you want, you can use. So get my ID async method. So it is calling the to DTO method, and which is going to convert this to a right DTO, customer to DTO. So this is
So
my
I'm
customer.
just one suggestion. We can do the for loop in the mapper configuration so that we can avoid it in a many places. So code's also not repeated. I'm just thinking in this way. Is it okay?
See,
Instead of
see,
calling.
see what is the difference between this statement and this statement?
No, sir. I'm not telling this. What we are doing for loop in the customer service. Okay. Instead of that, we can keep the old code in the mapper configurations. Inside the list DTOs, we can use the for loop. Uh, we can get the list. So if you do
That is fine. So see, whatever you told, that what I am doing, that is fine. But the thing is that the same mapping logic is repeated. So the same mapping logic, right, internally repeated.
No, sir, here it will not repeat. No, here what we can do, we can get the customers. On the customers, we can do the for loop, so the code will not be repeated.
I'm not getting what exactly you are talking. So can you tell me what logic I need to write?
Here, the same logic. Can you go to the custom mapper.cs? Here we have customers, and we can take the individual customers from in the for loop. Then we can convert into customer
So tell me, see, don't
customer response
ask me,
DTOs.
just tell me what changes I need to do here.
Okay, sir. Can you go to customer service.cs? Copy those lines.
So you
Comment
mean
the
you need to
lines.
write this statement?
Not this one. The for loop.
So this select statement is
Okay, we
nothing
can
but
write the for loop. Hello.
I'm not
Hello.
getting right exactly. I think you are only right confused.
No, sir. What I'm trying to say, if you go to customer mapper.cs,
Yeah, I'm coming.
here you can take the customer object and say take the customer object. On that,
So
we
what
can call
customer
the
object you are talking about?
here customer. You have one variable, right? The customers. This customer variable from the
Because
argument.
to pass a list, na, that is the reason why that variable here.
Mm. Yes, you can take this variable, then you can uh, loop
Let me
over
give you,
individual customers.
say, whatever you want to do, please do some red POC and let me know. Because I don't want to
Okay.
waste right time by discussing what you are thinking and what right I'm not understanding. Do some research because you understand the concept, right? Please implement on your machine and share the
Yeah,
source
sure,
code in
sure.
the group.
Sure,
Clear?
sure, I will.
That will give
Yeah.
more clarity. Okay.
Yes.
So this is 2 DTOs, that is fine, right? Otherwise, if you want to go with this approach, that is also fine. But here, if I'm doing this, and what is the problem? The problem is I'm writing the same, right? Conditional logic again here and again here. Okay, that's fine. So this is by get by ID method, retrieving a customer by ID, converting that into DTO. So these are the two methods that what I have defined, and this is for all the customer, and this method is for creating a new customer. The next one, I'm going to create my order service. So let me go to the service class file folder, I order service. So within the I order service, let me define this thing. So this is I order service, create async, get by ID async, get by customer async. So these are the three methods, which is going to create a new order, getting the order by ID, getting all the order by customer ID. So now let me go ahead and implement the interface. Create a class file order service. So this is my DB context mapper logger. So all are initialized. So this is my create async method. First of all, I'm validating whether items are there or whether any quantity is greater than, I mean, the product quantity of all these items is greater than equals to, I mean, less than equals to 0. If it's 0, then I should not proceed. Then I'm checking whether the customer is active and available. If not available, I'm returning this error message. So once this basic validation is done, then what I'm doing, I'm mapping, right? So let me close all this, close other tabs. So now this is order mapping. So in this case, I'm receiving that order DTO, and I want to map that order DTO to I'm order DTO to order entity. So for that purpose, I have to call this a two entity method. So here I'm calling this two entity method, which will create the entity and it will return that entity. Once written, I have to set the customer ID, customer, whatever the additional properties. I need to check, right, all the product IDs, whether they are available and valid or not. So fetching all the product ID, checking those product IDs are available in the database, right? And then that count I'm checking, right? If you don't want this one, right, you can also right, what I can say, you can also specify, simplify this logic here. Now if product ID dot count is not equals to products dot count, if product ID is count is not equals to product count, so you can return some exception here. So what exception? So any exception you want, you can return. Some products do not exist or not available, right? So that what you can return from here. Then what I'm doing here, please observe. So looping through all the product items, right? And then I'm converting each product item, right? Here you can see each product, each order item DTO, I'm converting to order item. And then I'm setting this product ID. Also, I want to set the unit price. Unit price, that is going to be product dot price. Right? Because this price, product ID price, that what I'm fetching, and right, the order item, and this quantity is already set by this mapper, and the rest of the things, product ID, unit price, I think product ID is already set, right, by the mapper. So you do not need to specify product ID here. You can only specify the unit price. Okay, so basically this mapping is going to be done. Let me check. So in this case, in my order item, that property name is ID, and in order item request DTO, order item request DTO, it is product ID. That name is different. And in the mapping, we have provided this right mapping information or not. Let's have a look. So this is my order, create order item request DTO to order item. So that mapping is not defined here. So what I need to do, I need to set the mapping. So how I need to set the mapping, please observe. So this is my ID, not here. Source is going to be my product ID, and the destination is going to be, yes, this name is same, product ID, order ID. So that mapping will be done automatically. Fine. So now, so we should not take this one automatically. It is going to be set. That's fine. So we are calculating the price, and the total price we calculated for all the items. Setting that total price is paid is false. By default, it is false. If you want to set it true, that's fine. Order status is pending. If you want, you can set paid, created on, system created by, adding that, save changes, all these things is there. And finally, build order response DTO. So the right build order response, once the order is there, now in the order mapper, you can see two DTO. So this order to order response DTO, this two DTO is there, build order response DTO. So let me go to the implementation. So basically here you can see order I'm taking as input, calling this to DTO, which is going to return me order DTO. And then for each order items, I'm right is I mean I'm selecting the order item to order items DTO. So that's fine. So in this case, for each order items, right, whatever available here, I'm projecting that response to order items DTO. If this is not, if you are not getting it, if you are confusing here, let me simplify this is. So what I'm doing here, please observe. For each order item, what I need to do, I need to set this one. Here. So basically what I'm doing now, first of all, I'm converting the order data. Then I'm looping through each order items, whatever available here. And that order item, I'm converting to order item DTO. And finally, I'm returning this DTO from this action method. Sorry, from this helper method. Is that clear? So whatever the for each loop I'm doing here, that thing you can also simplify it by using this select the project statement. So whichever approach you like, if you like this for each loop, this is the same thing I'm doing here also. Okay. So now this response is ready. So this is my create order. So response is ready. Then this is get by order ID. So I'm fetching the order, including the lazy loading the customer items product data. And finally, I'm calling the same method, which is going to prepare the response. Similarly, get by customer ID. So for one customer, I'm checking whether the customer active, and then I'm loading all the associated orders of that customer, and then I'm calling this rate select builder. So again, if you are getting confused, select you can consider this is nothing but your rate for each loop statement. And in this case, I'm passing that same method, right, which is going to project my response. So this is going to my order service. So once this is done, next I need to configure my logging statement. I need to specify my connection stream. So here you can see I'm specifying my database name Mapperly order TP. And finally, I need to register the services into the program.cs class file. So this is going to my program.cs class file. Here you can see I'm specifying my DB context. I'm specifying my mapper, customer mapper, order mapper. I'm specifying the customer service and the order service. Once this is done, next I need to create the controller. First of all, I will create my customer controller. Let me first delete this one. So customer controller. So this customer controller is going to make use of customer service to perform the operations on the customer entity. So you can see create customer. So it is going to create a customer. Get all active, calling this get all active async method of the service class. Get by ID. It is calling this get by ID async method of the service class. Then the next controller I'm going to create is the order controller. So let me go ahead and create the controller. Order controller. So this is my order controller. So you can see create method is there. So which is creating a order, getting the order by ID, getting all the order by customer ID. So that's it. So finally, I need to add this statement in the right. If you want to see, if you don't add this thing, that is also fine. But if you want to see what statement are generated, you have to use this statement, right? Emit compiler generated files to true. So with these changes, right now our application is ready. So what I need to do, I need to build the project to see everything is working as expected or not. If any issue in the mapping, it will throw you compile time error. So there is some issue. So it is saying specified member phone number on mapping target type was not found. So it is saying this target type mapping was not found, right? So in the target type, whatever the mapping we have done, customer response DTO, right, numbers, these are not found. So if you go to the my orderly red customer mapper, so customer mapper is there, two DTOs. Okay. So these things are not found. So what I can tell you is you can simply remove this thing. Right? So internally, this customer to customer response DTO, internally it will use this one. That's fine. So let me build the solution one more time to see whether any, see now there is no compilation error. Clear? So if there is some issue, it will throw you at the time of compilation. And now there is no compilation issue, so it is working as expected. So with these changes, now I can generate my migration file. So let me go ahead and generate the migration file. Add migration image1 update hyphen database. Okay, so that's it. So we have done with our implementation. We can test the functionality now. So let me run the application. Okay, so let me start by creating a customer. So this is my customer. So I'm passing full name, email address, and all these things executing. If everything is fine, it should create a new customer. So yes, customer with ID 3 is created. That data, ID full name, email city, the data is also coming. So if email is right, not mandatory. So if you want to generate one customer without email, that is also fine. So here email I'm passing null. So here also you can see email is not available, but the customer is being created. So next, right, if you want to see all the customers, right? So in that case, what you need to do, you need to call this get method. So all the customer data you will see. So three customer are there, four customer, right? Customer 1, 2, 3, 4. Any particular customer details you want to see? I want to see the customer ID 3. Yes, you can see the customer details. Now I want to create one order. So let me start with one order. So go to this order post method, customer ID items, shipping line, one shipping line city, state, and a country. So this should, if everything is fine, it should create the customer. So here you can see that, sorry, it should create the order and the order is being created. Right. So now if you want to verify the order details, you can also verify, right? For example, I want to see the order ID whose value is 1. I'm getting the order details. If I want to see the customers all order, so I can pass 1 and I can see that particular customer order information. So this is how it is working. But here you can see I'm having one issue. In the items, it is showing the product ID 2 times. Why? Let me go to the database, refresh this. Order item is correct. Order ID 1, product ID 3. But in the response, it is showing multiple times. Why? Let's try to observe. So once this mapping is done, order is already set. Once this mapping is done, order is already set. So this logic doesn't need here. So what I can do is, already order items are set. So you can simply remove this one. So it should work now. See, now it is not working. Yeah, it is working fine. Now it is not showing duplicate data. Clear? Why this mapping is already done, right? So to understand this thing, we need to see the source code. Open file and folder, obj, debug, .NET, generated. So I need to check the order mapping code. So which method we are talking about? To DTO. Order to. So this is to DTO. Right, and in to DTO, you can see the list of order items. It is already converting using this map to list order item response DTO. So if we go to this map to order item response DTO, it is using this for each loop to do the conversion. That is the reason why that mapping is already done. So this code you can verify, right, how the mapping logic is written, right, what the code they have written, everything you can verify. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes, clear.
Right. So this updated document with the updated example, I will share. Anyone having any question, they can ask me. So the next week we are targeting this thing: basic authentication, JWT authentication. This is also called as token-based authentication. Then we'll discuss refresh token in JWT. We'll discuss claims-based authentication. We'll discuss role-based authentication. So in the next week, these things we are going to cover: basic authentication, JWT authentication, refresh token, claims-based authentication, role-based authentication, claims plus roles-based authentication in our application. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes.
They are very, very important session. So please do not miss any of these sessions. Right? Not only this thing, we are also going to discuss filters. Right? So we'll discuss result filter, authentication filter, action filter, resource filter, all these things we are going to discuss. Anyone having any question, they can ask me now.
I have one question. Hello.
Yes, please.
Just for the curiosity, if we have a two entity class, I just want to map it to one DTOs because in the application I want a combination of few properties of entity one and few properties of entity two. I want to make a one DTO. Is it possible?
So basically, how is that possible? You just tell me.
In normal way, we can get the
For that purpose, you have to write it two times now. So one DTO, two DTO. So basically, in that case, right, if you one entity C, whenever you are returning the data or whenever you are right, you have to understand. So whenever you are working with the DTO, so it's it possible that you will return two DTOs at the same response, right, to the client from the same response.
I'm not
Right?
getting. Can you ask me again, please?
For example, this is my order controller.
Okay.
From this method,
Mm.
maximum how many right DTO I can receive as input request? And maximum how many DTOs right I can return from this method? Can I accept two DTOs as input request from the request body? If you want to map to DTO, for example, is this allowed? Is this going to work? Tell me.
No idea, sir.
Okay, not possible. So maximum one request body a request can have.
Yeah,
And that
this is
request
okay.
body you can map to a. Secondly, right? For example, from this action method, right? Or from this action method, I'm returning this order. So order means only one object I'm going to return. Order response DTO. So I cannot return two objects. So the point that what you have to remember, this mapping is only between DTO to entity and entity to DTO. Yes, internal what happening now whenever I'm getting the data from the client, that data might be mapped to multiple entities. For
Yes.
example,
Mm.
one object I received create order requested DTO. So this order or you can say suppose customer. So from this customer request DTO, I can map this object to customer entity. I can map this object to address entity. That is possible,
Why
right?
I'm asking this question, because in real-time example, we will do some join operations on different entities from the data which we
That is
retrieve.
different. See,
So
I'm also doing many joining operations. If you look at this service class, right? If you look at the service class, I'm also doing all these joining operations, right? So this is also joining, na?
mm,
So order with customer, with the item, with order, with product. So this is also internally doing joining. So here it is going to do inner join, here it is going to do
yes.
left join, right? So that
Similarly,
is
if you
also
have
what I'm
one,
doing.
similarly, if you have one more uh, uh, joined operations on the different functions, then you will create one more DTO, is it? Yeah.
So
Understand?
again, you are getting confusion. First of all, you just tell me.
Mm.
So when this DTO will come into the picture, what is the objective of a DTO?
For the client side, how we need represent the data, or how we send the data, in which
No.
format they.
See, what operations you are doing internally, there is no relation with the DTO. Whether you want to fetch the data from a single table, multiple tables, whatever, this is your operation.
Okay.
There is no relation between those operations with the DTO. DTO means what you want to take from the client, what you
Yes.
want to return to the client,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
So what you can do at max, you can create a nested object. Nested object in the sense one DTO, that DTO contains another DTO, right?
Okay.
For
Okay.
example, if you look at this order response DTO. So in order response DTO, I can create order item response DTO, something like this. But from my action method, I cannot return two DTOs at the same time, order response DTO and customer response DTO. And at the same time, when I'm taking the data from the client, maximum one DTO I can take. Yes, that DTO can contain some nested object. That nested might be a complex object, might be a collection object, that's fine,
Okay.
right? And
Yes.
while you are doing the operation, it is up to your business logic only. So after
Okay.
doing the operation, whatever the data you want to return, that data you can map from your results,
Okay. Okay. Got it.
right?
Yeah.
So DTO means it is only for exposing, I mean, whatever the data you want to return and you want to accept from the client, nothing else.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
And that's it. Yes. Anyone else having any more question? Clear, guys?
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Guys,
Thank you.
next session is on Monday.
Okay. Yes.
And if anyone wants to attend tomorrow morning session, which is very interesting, I'm going to discuss, right, one important concept, right? What is that concept? That is going to be gRPC. So anyone heard related to gRPC?
Pranay, I have one question. Hello.
Yes.
Pranay, this video is available in YouTube.
No.
Hello.
No, this video is not available on YouTube. This is video and right, videos are only for the member who enrolled for the training program.
Okay.
Anyone can attend the live session, but recorded sessions are only for the enrolled member.
If you enroll, means you can pay, correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, Pranay. Pranay.
If anyone wants to attend tomorrow's morning session, microservices, very interesting. gRPC we are going to discuss. Interesting concept. Please join the session.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Sure.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.